Hey, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. Now, the guy in this picture here, if you do not know, is Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is supposedly a Democrat from the state of West Virginia. Now, that seems kind of odd, doesn't it, that West Virginia would have a Democrat as one of their state senators? He's been a long-term state senator from the state of West Virginia. And he's called himself a Democrat all these years. But you know what? During the Trump years, he didn't do anything to block Donald Trump's bills. Voted with Donald Trump most of the time. Tax cuts for the billionaires. He supported for the most part. I don't know what his final vote was, but I know early on his words were that he supported it. When Donald Trump passed the first two stimulus packages, guess what? He voted for it, no questions. And then, earlier this year, when Joe Biden decided to try to pass a stimulus bill, because the COVID was still kind of raging at the time, Joe Manchin tried to block it. Now, sure, at the end of the day, he finally relented. After pulling the checks down to a smaller amount than what they were intended to be. Because why? Because his Republican colleagues demanded him to do so, asked him to do so, and he just bowed at their feet, kissed them on their little ring, and went on and blocked it until they got their wishes. And then no Republican supported it. He talks about bipartisanship, but the Republicans don't want bipartisanship. They never have. When Barack Obama was inaugurated, the day he was inaugurated, Mitch McConnell and the Republicans held a secret meeting saying they would do everything in their power to block any and all legislation. And they did for 8 years. The ACA slid through because a few Republicans broke rank. And Democrats had like 58 votes at the time, not counting Bernie Sanders. Now, though, Mitch McConnell has made the same pledge, but this time not behind closed doors. He made it publicly, stating that he will not allow any Democratic priorities to make it through Congress. That means no Equality Act. That means no Voter Rights Act to replace some of the things that the Supreme Court ripped out of the Voting Rights Act of '65. Making it to where all eligible Americans can vote. It's not a bill to let illegals vote or a bill to say a state can't have, ID. If they want you to have a driver's license to vote, then okay. But they need to be sure they keep the DMVs open in the areas served, for everybody. Unfortunately, places like Alabama, Texas, Mississippi have closed DMVs and driver's license locations in historically black areas and other minority areas and Hispanic areas as well. At the end of the day, it's not working. Okay? Bipartisanship is not working because he's sitting here doing what the Republicans ask him to, and then they don't vote on the bill anyway. They still vote no. How many times do you have to do that, Mr. Manchin, before you realize that they don't give a damn about you? They're using you. But you don't care because you're getting paid by the Koch brothers, we find out. Of course, you're going to support the oil and gas industry. You're going to support cutting taxes for billionaires. Of course, you're not going to support voting rights. You're not going to support equality for everybody in this country. Why? Because you're being paid by the Koch brothers not to. You are not a Democrat. You're not really a Republican either because they don't want you either. I don't know what to call you anymore, Mr. Manchin. I used to have a lot of respect for you. Because when the chips were down, you would support your fellow Democrats. When you came together with Toomey to create that gun legislation a few years ago, I was so high on you. I supported you. I even made videos supporting you and wrote blogs supporting you. But if there's one thing I hate, is I hate a snake. And you, sir, are a snake. You slithered in under my radar. Made me think you were a good man. Then I find out you're supported by the Koch brothers and you're doing their bidding. So whenever your term is up, I don't care if you win. I don't care if the Democrats lose the Senate because of you losing. I don't care. If I had the money, I would donate to the Republican challenger facing you in your upcoming election. And if anybody watching this channel knows, I do not care for Republicans one bit. But I hate lying snakes more. So, Joe Manchin, you really need to realize that you're being used by the Republican Party. You're being used as a patsy. You either need to grow a pair and be a man and admit that you are a Republican and leave the Democratic Party, or you need to grow a pair and support your Democratic Party. Now, everybody has their opinion on these things. I get chided all the time for not supporting this man. Especially on Facebook. I have a friend of mine that thinks he's just God's gift. He's scum. He is funded by one of the scummiest organizations on the face of the planet. The Koch brothers. They're two of the scummiest people in politics. Buying and selling politicians like they're products or something. Anyways, y'all make your own mind up. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. And y'all have a great day. I'll see you down the road.